Hello students, welcome to your e-learning classes of Asansol North Point School. Today we are going to study the first chapter from your supplementary reader book, It So Happened, and the name of the chapter is How the Camel Got His Hump. So before moving into the chapter, we are going to study quickly about the author. So the name of the author is Rudyard Kipling. In full, Joseph Rudyard Kipling, born December 30, 1865, Bombay, now known as Mumbai, in India. He died on January 18, 1936 in London, England. He was an English short story writer, poet, novelist, chiefly remembered for his celebrations of British imperialism, his tales and poems of British soldiers in India, and his tales for children. He also received the Nobel Prize for Literature in the year 1907. So this was the quick introduction about the author. Now let's begin with the story. This chapter is adapted from the fable of Rudyard Kipling. A fable is a story with animals as its characters and it gives out a moral. So this fable is about the time when animals had started working for man. Now let's move into the story in details. In the beginning, when the world was new and the animals were just beginning to work for man, there was a camel and he lived in the middle of a howling desert. What is howling desert? A desert where you hear howling noises of both animals and the wind. Because he did not want to work. He ate sticks and thorns and prickles. When anybody spoke to him, he said, "Hump, just hump, and no more." Now what is thorns? A stiff, sharp, pointed, woody projection on the stem or other part of a plant. Prickles, a short, pointed outgrowth on the bark or epidermis of a plant. A short thorn. A small thorn. So here in this stanza we find that when in the beginning, when the world was new, then the animals had started to work for man and there was a camel. He lived in the middle of a howling desert and he did not want to work and he ate sticks, thorns, prickles. Next, presently the horse came to him on Monday morning with a saddle on his back and said, "Camel, O camel, come out and trot like the rest of us." What is saddle? A seat fastened on the back of a horse or other animal for riding, typically made of leather and raised at the front and rear. Next word meaning is trot. Trot means run at moderate pace with short steps. "Hump," said the camel, and the horse went away and told the man. Presently the dog came to him with a stick in his mouth and said, "Camel, O camel, come and fetch and carry like the rest of us." Now what is fetch? Go and then bring back something for someone. Hump, said the camel, and the dog went away and told the man. Presently, the ox came to him with the yoke on his neck and said, Camel, O camel, come and plough like the rest of us. Hump, said the camel, and the ox went away and told the man. Now what is yoke? A wooden cross piece that is fastened over the necks of two animals and attached to the plough or cart that they are to pull. Now, plough. What is the meaning of plough? Turn up the earth of an area of land with a plough, especially before sowing. So, now next. At the end of the day, the man called the horse and the dog and the ox together and said, Three, O three, I am very sorry for you, but that hump thing in the desert can't work, or he would have been here by now. So I am going to leave him alone and you must work double time to make up for it. So here what is happening? At the end of the day, the man called the horse, the dog and the ox together and he said, Three of you come, and I am really sorry for three of you because the hump thing, that is the camel which is present in the desert, it is unwilling to work. And so just because the camel is unwilling to work, so they must work double time in order to make up for it. That made the three very angry and they held a panchayat on the edge of the desert. Now what is panchayat? A council. And the camel came chewing curd and laughed at them. Curd means partly digested food returned from first stomach of ruminants to the mouth for further chewing. Then he said, Hump, and went away again. Presently there came along the jinn who was in charge of all deserts, rolling in a cloud of dust. Now what is jinn? It is pronounced as jinn, variously spelled as jinni, jinni, jinn, etc. A spirit that has strange powers and can assume any form, human or animal. Jinn of all deserts, said the horse, is it right for anyone to be idle? Certainly not, said the jinn. Well, said the horse, there is a thing in the middle of your desert with a long neck and long legs, and he hasn't done a stroke of work since Monday morning. He won't trot. Phew! The meaning of this word is used to express surprise. Said the jinn, whistling, that's my camel. What does he say about it? He says, Hump, and he won't plough. Said the ox. Very good, said the jinn. I will hump him if you will kindly wait a minute. Now, I will hump him, this means I will deal with him appropriately, or I will set him right. So here in this stanza, the three animals, that is the ox, the horse and the dog, they are going to the jinn who is in charge of all deserts, and they are going to the jinn for some help, because the long neck thing, that is the camel which is present in the desert, it was sitting idle and it was not doing any work, neither it was trotting nor it was moving. So they wanted some help from the jinn, and the jinn assured them that he will be helping them by dealing with the camel, or by setting the camel right. Next, the jinn rolled himself up in the dust, in his dust cloak, and took a walk across the desert, and found the camel looking at his reflection in a pool. Looking at his own reflection in a pool of water. My friend, said the jinn, what's this I hear of your doing no work? The jinn sat down with his chin in his hand, while the camel looked at his own reflection in the pool of water. You have given the 3 extra work ever since Monday morning, all on account of your idleness, said the jinn. He went on thinking with his chin in his hand. Hump, said the camel. I should not say that again. If I were you, said the jinn, you might say it once too often. I want you to work. And the camel said, Humph, again. But no sooner had he said it than he saw his back, that he was so proud of, puffing up and puffing up into a great big hump. Puffing up means becoming bigger, and hump means a round protuberance found on the back of a camel or other animal. So here the jinn, he is going to the camel, and when he is asking the camel that he has come to know that the camel did not do any work since Monday morning, then he saw the camel was busy looking at his own reflection into the water. So even the camel that time said hump, and next what happened? The camel really had a big hump on his back. Do you see that? Said the jinn. That's your very own hump that you have brought upon your very own self by not working. Today is Thursday, and you have done no work since Monday, when the work began. Now you are going to work. How can I, said the camel, with this hump on my back? That has a purpose, said the jinn, all because you missed those 3 days. You will be able to work now for 3 days without eating, because you can live on your hump. And don't you ever say, I never did anything for you. Come out of the desert and go to the tree and behave. So here in this last part, the jinn, what is happening? He is doing some kind of magic, and then the camel is having a big hump on his back. And then the jinn is telling the camel that since you did not work since Monday, that's why now you are going to work. And the camel is telling that how will I work because I have a hump on my back. So the jinn is saying that there is a purpose, because you are having a hump on your back, so now you can work for 3 days without eating and you can live on your hump. Now let's know the summary of this chapter. Now, in the middle of howling desert, there was a camel who refused to work while the other animals worked for the man day and night. Whenever any animal approached the camel to help him in the work, he would just refuse and just say one word, hump. So the other animals like the dog, the horse and the ox were so frustrated by the camel's attitude that they complained to the man. The man knew everything about how the camel behaved, but he did not do anything about it. Instead, he told the other animals like the dog, the horse and the ox that they should work double time to make up for the camel's behavior. Finally, a genie took all these matters into his hands and he decided to sort out this problem. So he went to the camel and asked him why he did not work, and then again the camel answered him, hump. The genie got annoyed, and suddenly that moment the camel again said, hump. There was a hump which grew on his beautiful back. The genie told the camel that now this hump will remind him of the days when he did not work, and he can work now tirelessly for many days without food, because this hump will store the food for him. So this is the summary of the chapter. Okay, now that's all for today. We will be meeting with the next new video in the next class.